snacks.
What it do, snackers and snackettes? It's your boy Gage, Jokes and Sin, both chilling in the building. What up,
Yo,
and
my man with all the
super
everything.
Right,
whams and yos, and what up, K? You are now officially tuned in to Loaded Snacks Weekly, where we get together once a week and we talk about things that are happening in pop culture. And today, oh man, you ready to talk about Black Widow?
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, we're not gonna spoil it. That's for a different show, y'all.
That's for that spoiler boys.
It's for a different show. Yeah.
What up,
we want to talk about Black Widow and what happened at the box office. What's going on with this premiere access? We're gonna talk about Halle Bailey. Hey, listen, am I the only one who just trying to say this young child's name?
Sometimes, yeah.
Me all up because she just not the original Berry. Halle Bailey messing me up, dog. Trying to say that drink. We're gonna talk about that for sure. Maybe a couple other things. So let's start with Black Widow, dog. Last week we had that discussion about Fast and Furious and whether or not anything
something was going to top those numbers.
You know what I mean? If this was it or not. Well, we said if something was going to do it, it was going to be this.
It was going to be Widow.
Everything that's coming, it was going to be this. And for sure, it was this. So let's run it down for a second because I don't know where Frosty is, dog. What's wrong with you, Marcus?
You're just asking for it,
just want to get banged all the time. Yeah, so look. They come out and announce that they pulled in $80 million domestically, which Fast did 70. So I beat that by 10. But that they pulled in 60 million just from Premiere Access alone. Internationally, they pulled in 78. So in total over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 215 million gross. So let's talk about this for a second because $60 million, bruh. Over $60 million is what they said. $60 million in Premiere Access alone is a lot of money. Oh,
tired and made it.
Black Widow was family. Could make it MCU. Facts. That's because I have family. Listen, y'all, stop it. What? I mean,
what's up, fam?
Here we go.
Stopping. No.
Not stopping.
It's gonna be a thing. What do you think is the? I mean, look, nobody will stop talking about Fast. For all the people who went and saw it, I mean, it seemed like it went over well.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the difference is here between something like Fast and something like Black Widow? Is it just the strength of the fact that it's MCU?
MCU.
I think MCU and the fact that everybody's been wanting to see her movie and it's been put off for so long and so long and so long. It's just a combination of all those things, I think.
I almost don't even think it's that as much. I definitely think it's MCU. Like, don't get me wrong. I want to see Black Widow, but everyone was hoping to figure out and see what the big tie-in, or was there going to be a tie-in? Was something directly going to affect like Loki when we get to see that at 3 a.m.? Just seeing something like that. Because at this point, once you're in the MCU and you start watching, you're tied into all those. You just got to tune into whatever is related to the MCU to see what's going to happen next. And I think that is the draw here.
I mean, okay, we don't know for a fact whether or not these other MCU films that are coming are also going to have dual releases.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're going to have a Disney Plus and have, um, I'm not sure what F9 did internationally, Cuddy, but and Fast was definitely put off more than once. I mean, I think there's Black Widow wasn't necessarily put off or moved more than Fast. However, people have been waiting for them to announce or say that there was going to be a Black Widow standalone movie for much longer. Just in turn, her being like one of the original members of the team. So I don't know. I'm there's a part of me that feels like some of the success that they saw with Disney Plus is, yes, obviously tied to the fact that it's MCU, but I think it's a little more than that. I think it's the fact that not only is it tied to the MCU, but it's all available. Like all of the rest of the MCU, almost all the rest of the MCU is available in Disney Plus. And this has now become a place where people are used to seeing part of the MCU because you can only get the shows there.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are or you became a fan of WandaVision, if Falcon and Winter Soldier meant anything to you, you've heard people talking about it. If you're in the, in the thralls of watching Loki, which only has one episode left, you know what I mean? You've been watching them all in the same place. So now Disney Plus as a service has become synonymous with the MCU and where you see it and how you see it all, because now you have something besides the theater that ties the MCU all together, and you can always go and watch it. So it's easy to be like, you know what? I'm going to watch this movie and this movie and this movie, getting ready for it. If you looked at what they did with Black Widow, if you went on Disney Plus like in a few days before the movie released, they actually did like a Black Widow collection. They had like all 5 or 6 of the movies that had her in it, and they changed the image for it to show her and what she looked like in that movie, and then the title of that movie. And I thought that was one of the dopest things I had ever seen. It just they did an amazing job of pushing marketing just in that Disney Plus ecosystem alone. And I think that makes a difference. Dave Robert Dean says they may convert this year's set to dual release, given the rise in cases in the Delta over the past 10 days. Marcus says it's ScarJo. ScarJo doesn't sell. You can let that go. Yeah. Greg says ScarJo does Black Widow so well.
Yes, we have J. Robert.
She does super well. Like she is, I think, synonymous, along with the other people who played those characters in the original set of characters for the Avengers. They've become beloved, and they feel like, again, one of the things that we have given major kudos to Kevin Feige and the team that's doing the MCU films is that their casting has been A1. That everyone who's been cast has just been so spot on. It's super difficult to imagine anybody else being in those roles. I think that she counts as one of those people. I will say that I think, regardless of how you feel, like, I think that the Black Widow movie does a good job of, like, they have over time, like, done this baton passing in each of the last few movies, where they have shown you, here's another character who might replace this character who is somebody from the comic book who has the same abilities, or whatever. So I think that's smart. J. Robert Dean said, I'll be honest, $30 is a lot cheaper than $50 for tickets, and I can make my own food. Again, there's no there's no two ways about that. Like, that's just, it's a fact. It's what it is. Cuddy said, love me some ScarJo, but great new character, and the movie did its job. Can't wait to see more of her little sister. You spoiler boys in it, but that's cool. Heather said she saw the image thing and that was brilliant. I agree. Again, I think that was like really, really smart for them to do that. Yes, the spoiler boys for Black Widow is already done. Isn't that right, Jokes?
I figured that was going to be a tomorrow thing because I didn't want to drop that the same day as Spoiler Boys for Loki. I thought we would keep that jump separate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's done. Opening was a cold piece of work. Oh man, Ty, you sound like an old man saying that again. I wish I could hear, like I can hear it in your smoky voice.
Cold piece of work.
Cold piece of work, man. You're right. Yeah, I mean, look, I do think that idea, that concept of $30 versus what it costs you to go to the theater, you know, even by yourself, you know, look, if it costs you 15, if it costs you 13, which is what it costs a lot of times just for an adult ticket, you know what I mean, to go at least on opening night, you know, which is when a lot of us go. You know, the idea now, look, even if you could, the idea of getting together to go to the theater, which is a thing we're doing this weekend, but like the idea of getting together to go to the theater or going to the, you know, theater with a bunch of people, you have to keep in mind that yes, theaters are opening back up and people are going outside and doing things again outside together. However, people are also becoming more comfortable getting together at home.
Mm-hmm.
This is also a thing that hasn't been happening. People have been alone. Not just alone, but alone. You know what I mean? Where they're not like, nah, I don't know where you've been. You're not coming over here without no mask, without, you know what I mean? Like, people are beginning to have cookouts and gatherings and get-togethers and birthday parties and all of that kind of stuff. And so the idea of having 2 or 3 people come over and watch it together at home, also not necessarily a bad idea. This isn't something that is just for people, say like myself or Cuddy, who have a couple of kids who tend to buy more than one ticket when we go to the theater, and it's always $50 to $100 just to go watch one movie. $30 is an easy spend. It is. As a matter of fact, it's such an easy spend that if you do it, and it is good, you might still spend money to go to the theater.
True.
Because that's what I'm doing.
Same here.
That's what it is. They may actually make more money. There are people who will go to the theater and see it and like it enough to turn around and buy it at home, even though they could wait 3 months or so until it's available because they already have Disney Plus. There are people who aren't gonna wait. There are people who
it's kind of dope though. It's kind of dope for like the theater people who do want to go to the theater and see it, to be able to go to the theater and see it and still be able to come home and enjoy it so much and just watch it right again and don't have to think about it.
Correct. You know, and there's nothing stopping Disney or some other company from saying, hey, if you buy an opening night movie ticket, you get a discount on, you know, whatever. Like there's a thing you scan or whatever, and you can get it with your subscription or whatever, Disney Plus for less or something like that. Like that kind of stuff is going to come at some point. Let's see. Alfonso said, watch Black Widow at home and still had a great time with the family. Again, that's what a lot of people are doing. Right. Warlock Cons. Shay Robertine. It's too easy to have family night at home, less expensive. Agree.
That's fact.
Ty said, between me and everybody in the house, that movie got watched 4 times last weekend. That would have been a fortune at the theaters. That was the best 30 I spent all month. Again, listen, for me, typically, I go see an MCU film probably twice in the theater within the first week. And that usually means opening night and possibly the very next day, or pre-opening night.
I was about to say pre-opening and then actual opening,
and then that Friday or something like that. Depending on what it is and how good it is, sometimes that means I spend the extra money to go to the theater with seats that move. You know what I mean, or something like that. Like they usually get closer to $200 out of me. You know what I mean? When they drop a movie. Here's the other thing to keep in mind. This is what I want y'all to really look at. Take a look at this. Look at these release dates. And how close they are.
Yeah,
I love it.
3rd, November 5th, December 17th, March 25th. A little space in between those two.
Slim, listen.
But then right back with May, right back with July. A little space.
But you know November. What? With those gaps that's in there, some of that's going to be filled in by the Disney Plus stuff. So it's like there's almost no gap.
There's no breathing room almost,
There isn't.
Because August we get What If. So you go straight from Loki to What If, right into Shang-Chi. Like there's about to be just no break at all.
Bruh. It's sickening. You understand what I'm saying? And listen, and when you do what they did with Black Widow, and you take the end credit scene and you tie it directly into another show that's getting ready to come. I'm gonna save the spoilers just in case. But when you tie the movie directly in, not only do you tie it directly into a show that's coming, you tied in the one that just ended.
Timing, yeah. Tying it back to Disney Plus. Come on, get now.
Hey, come back here. Come back here.
Come right back here.
Come on back.
It's all
come on
right
back
here.
Yep.
Anybody who didn't understand or didn't get it or has a question or whatever, if you watched it in the theater and you actually stayed in your seat and saw that, you like, wait.
We are judging you.
Not everybody's tied in the way we are.
Did anybody leave y'all theater when that time came? I'm just curious. We mentioned it like last week. If people do people still get up and leave when a Marvel movie is on or whatever? Did anybody leave when the credits started?
No, I was at home.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Right. We saw it at home.
Same here. I saw it at home because we ended up not going because Tatiana had to work, so we ended up just doing Disney Plus and doing it straight.
That's right. That's right.
But I will tell you, social media, people are just like us and tuning in are recording these people. So I watched a post on Instagram. Dude recorded, like, I kid you not, maybe like 15 to 20 people just getting up and leaving during. Of course, he flips the camera back on himself. It's like, why? We're still doing this? Like nearly like 15 years later, we're still doing this? Because even before MCU, like even X-Men was doing it before MCU even did it when the X-Men movies first came out. Like they even was doing the after credit scene.
Yeah, like two people got up and left out of mind. It was funny. I could feel everybody looking at them like, whatever. Like
they didn't want to be the one. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I think that there's something that. Here's the thing. We live in a bubble. This actually is like perfectly ties into what I was getting ready to say anyway. Like, we live in this bubble. Like, we're very tuned into what's happening from a pop culture standpoint. You know, what's going on with something like the MCU, all the small intricacies and all that. But you got to think about the sheer number of casual fans. People who like, yeah, I saw a couple of them or I saw most of them. I think I saw all of them. There might be one or two that I missed or something like that. Like, there are a lot of casual fans. There are a lot of casual fans who have gotten caught up because Disney Plus exists, because they have Disney Plus, because they watch the show like Falcon and Winter Soldier, and they maybe didn't watch the other movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, like we're always amazed at the people who seem to just not know better than to get up and leave at the end of the movie. But it just proves that there are all these people out there who aren't us, who don't sit and watch, who don't know, or just don't care. Like, it's just not that big of a deal to them, right? But they'll spend the money to go see it in the theater, right? That they will probably also spend the money to be able to watch it. There are people like that who maybe don't even realize that they could just pay for it and watch it on Disney Plus if they wanted to.
True.
You know what I mean? So we have to keep in mind that to a large extent, like, we're an anomaly. We're the anomaly. Like, we think they're the anomaly. We're the anomaly. People who are tuned in the way we are tuned in, it's farther and fewer between than what we might think because of the bubble. And so if every time you go see a Marvel movie, there are still people who get up and walk out of the theater, and there are still people who are like, yo, I cannot believe this. How are you getting up and walking out? That speaks to the sheer number of people who just like, How many of those people do you think bought it and watched it on Disney Plus, and as soon as the credits hit, turned it off?
Turned it off.
Just turn the joint off. Hey man, that was so good. I like that joint. I watched that again. Might have even watched it a second time.
I know, really. Stopped it and rewound the joint.
No, just fast forward to the end of credits. Just.
That's what I did. I fast forwarded to the end of the joint. That's like I'm not actually gonna watch all these credits. I'm gonna skip it. That's one of the beautiful things about it. Like in the theater, it's cool. I'm usually there with other people. Like y'all, I could turn. We could talk about what's going on. Whatever. While the credits are rolling. Nah, not this time. We just gonna power through this.
We start talking to each other like, yo, shut up. We about to fast forward this right quick.
4 times 2. Let's go.
Yeah.
That don't go to 32. Screw that. Because as soon as you get to that closer to the end and all the text starts getting closer together and there's a ton of it at once. Oh, hit play.
Right. Here we go. I saw some movement. Let me run it back real quick. I'm gonna watch the end of it. I'm gonna watch this part of the credits. I want to feel the fresh roll into it. You know what I mean?
And that's facts too, Jay. Right? I know when we have people that we know, we will definitely sit there to see it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, J. Robert Deans, I have a lot of friends that work on a lot of stuff, man. And when they tell me they're in something, I'm gonna tell you something real. I leave it to those people to record the credits or take an image of the credits and post it on social media. That's your job. It is not my job to watch the credits, to find you in the credits. As exciting as that might be, I've done it. But realistically, I don't have to sit and sift through the credits because they still got credit. You know what I'm saying? Then all I can do is say, I saw so-and-so's name in the credits. That's awesome.
It works a little bit better when it's like,
say, hey, I worked on such and such, and check me out. I was in the credits, and they post it. That's their job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to take a picture of it and post and be like, look, somebody.
Right. I'm gonna post. But when it's something smaller, when it's something small like a TV show, because literally the credits are like 15 seconds. Like I'll watch that, John, because normally they'll show up in like the bigger area versus that last string of names that are just like, okay, we got to get the rest of these people in here. Let's just crunch it all down.
We got that 10-15 minute rundown of credits. Like
it's just there's so much going on in the credits, dog. Like I know people whose names are in the credits and can't nobody tell me what the best boy grip is.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know that.
That's facts.
Best boy grip 1, best boy grip 2. Best boy grip. Like, and there'll be multiples, and I'm just like, oh, here we go. I already see it.
I feel that. Frosty said, me and my dad like to point out the unique last name in the credits. When we're at the theater, we fast forward at home. Again, that's fair if you're actually going to stay and watch the credits anyway, because you're waiting. Again, one of the brilliant things about having an after credit scene or a mid credit scene is you are actually giving people a reason to stay and view the credits, to watch the credits. They used to really try, Disney especially used to try to make it so back when movie soundtracks were a thing. And when I say they were a thing, I mean they were an actual thing that was really good and people would go out and buy movie soundtracks. Then they will put great music at the end, so you might stay and bop a little bit while you watch. You know what I mean? Like that was a thing. Like that was an important thing. Having an after credit scene is like people might actually stay and see your name go by. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just walk out, because it almost makes it seem like, well, what's the point of really having the credits anyway if that's the case, right? Because nobody's really watching them. Nobody's looking at them. We watch it on TV. That's when the credits roll. That's when they squeeze the joint down, right? Hey, make it this tiny little box. Telling you what's coming up next. Or tell you what's ready to come on the 11 o'clock news or whatever it is. Like they just we don't really care about that.
There we go. Best boys are the supervisors to the grip and electric departments.
Exactly. What's a grip?
See, that's a rabbit hole about to go down.
I know, really.
And the only reason why I even said that was because I knew J. Robert Deans was going to tell me what it was in there, and he'll keep telling me. He'll keep telling me. My point is, it doesn't matter to anybody who's actually like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're in a movie, maybe it matters. If you're in the credits, maybe it matters. It matters to people because they don't know. You know what I mean? Like what it is and what that means. At the same time, what those things mean change for every movie. It's not always the same. It bounces around. My man Marcus said I'm unbannable. What is happening? Marcus? Settle down. Settle down. See, I told you he was going to tell me what it was. Grips handle the camera equipment.
Electricals handle the wiring, power to equipment on set.
I know people still can't tell me what a best man's job is in a wedding. Like, dog, you just got like it's a best boy grip and there's a best man in a wedding. Like some people don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah, a whole lot of money. Frosty, you too. Don't make me come back there, y'all. Don't make me come back.
I can't. I'm family. Hey, family show tough love. So hey, don't do that because that's still what gets you back.
Facts. Curveball. Sin.
Yo.
What's the best movie soundtrack of all time? And I'm not gonna ask Joe because I already know he doesn't know.
Best movie soundtrack of all time.
Yeah.
Actually, that is.
I think it's been said.
One. I know a lot of people. You know.
See, look at J. Robert Dean still going like a dictionary in the chat because I know he knows. I know he knows.
Even though you don't think, I kind of want to take a crack at it if Sin can't.
The first two joints that pop in my head, I'm not saying it right, but the first things that popped in my head when you said it was Batman and the show. Probably because those are two joints I probably listen to a lot. But it's been so long since I listened to like a soundtrack.
Jason's Lyric had an incredible soundtrack. Space Jam has an incredible soundtrack.
Space Jam does. But like I said, it's been so long, I'm not listening to a soundtrack in God knows how long.
Because they don't matter.
They don't do them as much.
So I don't even remember what's on them. I'd have to sit down and go back and like, oh yeah, this one was fire. Like just when you mentioned Space Jam, I was like, yeah, Space Jam was fire. You know what I mean? Just stuff. It's just remembering.
Marcus said Tron. That is so wrong. Legacy.
Hey, you know what? Somebody mentioned him. What you mean? Who just
soundtrack? Not score. Soundtrack.
Right.
Because the score isn't generally something there are movies that play a score at the end of a movie when the credits are rolling. That's the kind of thing you get up and you walk out on. Soundtrack, you stay. And my time, Ready Player One, get out, Marcus. Exactly, Frosty. Back to the Future. It had a song. I mean, there are some good songs in there. There's two. Bodyguard, clearly.
Ghostbusters
soundtrack. Nobody said Purple Rain? We're having a problem right now. Nobody said Purple Rain?
I was gonna say, if you say Batman 89, like Purple Rain should be
Batman 89
right there.
Had a brilliant score. Soundtrack was also super dope. That's another Prince joint. But Batman 89 soundtrack as an all Prince work is not better than Purple Rain. Period.
Ooh, Moonwalk.
Easy. Easy. Right, exactly. Listen. Loving basketball. Hey, look, for real, I give you New Jersey Drive. joint. God. Used to be that they would take artists from all over the place and pull them together and like to be featured on a soundtrack was such a big deal because it meant so many more people were going to hear you. So many more people were going to hear your music that it was a super big deal. Rocky, the Resident Evil Apocalypse soundtrack was amazing.
No, don't believe it.
I don't
don't believe it.
I don't know about it.
not even. Excuse me for a second. I gotta do my Googles on this one.
Please do. Marcus, did you mind the movie? Oh, did you mind have that
Marcus,
first one?
The Dead President's solid soundtrack. Okay, but that's a score, and not the same. Hey, listen, you're right. I'm not as into hard rock as you are. I still don't. I don't know if I would put that joint in the upper echelon of movie soundtracks versus score. He got game solid. Purple Rain is amazing. It's a combination. It's a combination. They came out at the same time though. like the Purple Rain soundtrack and the movie, that album hit at the same time as the movie. Like that, they're designed to be together. Still, as a whole, Bodyguard. The Bodyguard might be the best selling soundtrack ever. Straight up. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like soundtracks though used to be that. They used to be like all of the best artists on any one label, sometimes in multiple labels, pulled together. You know what I mean? Like certain movies, if it was a Colombian movie, you were going to get some of the best artists that existed because Sony owned so many labels that you would just get great.
Yeah, Heather, that Black Panther joint was fire.
Yeah, I think Purple Rain might be up there. Higher Learning had a solid soundtrack too, but it's not even close to Purple Rain. Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack was fire, dog. However, yeah, I don't. Look, there's some sound like you could take something like Guardians of the Galaxy and be like, the soundtrack to that joint is amazing. That actually is more of a mixtape, which sort of is what soundtracks were. But it used to be that people would create
original songs.
It would be original music that was on the soundtrack. You just couldn't get anywhere else except on the soundtrack. You know what I mean? From this particular artist, or especially you would get 2 artists, sometimes 3 artists that work together
that normally you wouldn't actually see that collab from.
Hey, listen, there is some incredible music on Guardians of the Galaxy, J. Robert Deans. Just because you hate the movie doesn't mean you can shake down the soundtrack, bro. Hey. That soundtrack is solid, but again, it's a compilation. It's not necessarily music that was made for the sake of putting it together for the movie. And it used to be you would Chef's soundtrack is fire as well. You would seek to go buy the soundtrack to a movie because there were certain artists on it. Like you could flip that joint over and look and be like, what? So-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. And you would just Superfly. Great score. I don't know if I would say soundtrack. Score is definitely. I mean, Mayfield. That's pretty solid. All right, that's enough curveball. We do this like, man, we start talking about music and I will never. Let's talk about this. Did you see that they well, I shouldn't say they. Holly Bailey.
Yeah, slow it down
though. Dropped this image to not only give us technically what is our first official image of her as Ariel in Little Mermaid, but to also signify that the movie has wrapped shooting. What are our levels on this? Are we excited at all about live action Little Mermaid?
No, and Little Mermaid is my favorite Disney movie.
I know.
And I'm so not excited about this. But that could easily change if I see the trailer and I like what I see. But so far, the live action adaptations of the classic animated films just
hasn't. Some of them have been okay. They've been okay. Lion King just throw it out the window. Yes, Marcus.
Last thing you said.
I know we have moved on, but yes, Marcus, the first movie soundtrack was actually kind of dope. Hey, it's fine. I get it, you guys. But the joint is actually pretty dope. I'm
sure that KB was answering a different question I asked, but that statement right there, nah. What you're saying? Yeah, Heather says the live actions have been hit or miss. But I'll see this to make haters mad. Yeah, I mean, look, there's obviously going to be something to say about that. What up, Josh? Girl dad here, so this isn't even a question for me. Fair. Ty says I'm a sucker for all these live adaptations. I love all of them. Do you love all of them? Which one's your favorite? I would like to know.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Yeah.
I think everyone aware these live action remakes are just copyright and trademark renewal projects. In a lot of ways, yes.
That's
they
cool. Yeah.
are. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. This is okay. KB says all the Disney live action have been pretty good, but the nostalgia is never good as the original films. I agree with that.
I definitely agree with that.
That's why he tardy tied. Because he watching the live action Disney joints, he just late because he was like,
as long as you don't say the Lion King joint's good, then we fine. Like I thoroughly enjoyed the Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. I enjoyed those.
Yeah, Jungle Book was solid. Lion King was really the biggest flop as far as I'm concerned. Now that joint made a ridiculous amount of money, but it felt empty. You know what I mean? It just did.
It didn't translate the same way.
It didn't. Here's what I'm wondering. The idea of doing these live action movies. What you mean, which Jungle Book? The live action remake of the Jungle Book.
We're talking about the live action one. Come on, keep up.
It doesn't really matter because the regular Jungle Book is solid, but Emma Watson's Belle did sound extra British in that, but she's extra British. Like she's extra British. She sounded like Hermione. Lion King was like Psycho 98. Why bother shot for shot remake? Well, all of them. I mean, that's basically like Beauty and the Beast was shot for shot remake. Like they basically like the Lady in the Tramp joint. They did the same thing. No. I mean, Emma Watson is extra. I mean,
yeah, I guess let's say that.
I mean, Belle is French. I don't mean Belle. The Broadway version of Lion King bodies all the versions. Nah, I've seen it. I don't know if I'm gonna say that. I don't know if I'll go that far. Now there are songs in it that they took from the Broadway version that were supposed to be in the original movie that got cut, put them back into the Broadway joint, and they work better in that than I think they would have in the film. And they certainly they did do that in the live action one, and it didn't work. I forget these messages don't let you curse. I don't know what your message is doing because Frosty curse all the time. You might have to switch to Twitch if you need. If you need I don't know. Here's what I wonder: the concept of doing these and the success that came from them was a thing that happened before Disney Plus was a thing. How long is it going to be before they just decide to put Disney Plus money in it and just go straight to Disney Plus and stop even bothering to put them in the theater? Like they did Cinderella. When they let Brandy be Cinderella, which is beloved by a lot of people. And I don't want to take that away from them, but let's be real. It's okay. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? What do you think that happens? When do they just say, you know what? Why don't we just put this straight to Disney Plus and not even bother to do a theatrical release?
Honestly, I with the way that things are going right now with some of the releases, like it wouldn't be surprising me if it was like within the next couple of years. Like honestly, they've been doing fairly well with the MCU ones. Obviously, some of the Disney ones will be big draws, and just like you said, saving money from going in. If you get, especially if you have a big family and you know the kids that you normally would take to see the Disney movies, you're telling me you pay $30 versus like $80. Like if you have like 2 adults, 2 kids at the minimum, I don't see why they wouldn't. Of course, that just all goes straight to them.
I can see it possibly happen in the next couple of years as well. Like seeing what Black Widow just did, like having big numbers not only in the box office but on Disney Plus as well. Like that 60+ million is like incredible. I think if they keep seeing numbers like that, or even possibly start to go up even more, yeah, I can see them possibly making that. You know, sitting down having that conversation, even if they're not having it right now, and making that switch.
And not to mention, depending on what movie it is, you know, you get the family and get them to come in, or whoever to come in and start watching. If there's either prequel other movies before that one or whatever, hey, go ahead and jump into Disney Plus. You can catch up on these franchises of movies, watch 1, 2, 3, whatever it is for it, and then just jump into the new one when it gets ready to actually release. And then tying that into probably some red carpet event type things that they could also stream like through Disney Plus. Whether you have like the stars of the movie having conversations with the audience, interaction, hop on your phone in the app, ask a question and things like that. I feel like there's more ways that they could get the people to come to the Disney Plus side versus getting you to just go to the theater and actually see it.
I mean, you're probably right. I mean, obviously, it's all a money thing, right? It's all about where they think they can get the best bang for their buck, and if they can make enough money doing it in the theater, they might do it. I hear you, Doctor Who. I don't necessarily think that's true though. I mean, yeah, Disney is. I don't think Disney is the same Disney that they once were. I mean, Ariel's black this go around. So like, yes, I understand you're saying Brothers Grimm over Disney, because Disney had too much whitewashing and so forth. But things are changing, and so I don't know that that's valid anymore. I also don't agree that you can't learn lessons from happy endings, or from whitewashing ethnic stories. There's something to be learned from that. There are definitely lessons to be learned from that. Good, bad, or indifferent. There are definitely lessons to be learned. I don't think that the happy ending thing is necessarily bad all the time. And I think that if you're Disney and you're in that position, then the way that you're selling, look, we didn't learn real Brothers Grimm like stories under most circumstances. Like the stories that we were given as children in the books that we had that were made for children, they watered down what was happening in like Brothers Grimm stories across the board. Disney's not alone in that. That's not something that is specific to them. Kay says, I think it depends on how much revenue the theatrical release actually generates over the next year. And I mean, I think that that's probably a realistic thing too. Is if the money is there, they'll keep doing it that way. But I think it also depends on like how much money you put into it versus how much money you can get out of it. You know what I mean? I think it's just gonna be about where they net. I mean, there are people like me and believe all of us who just enjoy being in the theater. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. Realistically, I'm kind of over being in the theater, but I have been for a long time, for a very long time. I've been very satisfied home theater enthusiast for a long time. There is something to be said for the theater going experience personally, as it states with like full theater gasps when something happens. You know what I'm saying? Yep. When everybody at the same time is like, or everybody laughs together. There is something to be said for that. There's no two ways about it. But I can live without it for sure. No, Marcus, happy endings aren't for kids. Happy endings make kids.
Pretty much.
Let's just make sure we understand this. It's in a thigh guard. It's in a thigh guard. It is Switchblade. So you know.
Call the side warden.
Yeah. Kay said, I mean, y'all just said y'all put up y'all Disney Plus money and going to the theater, hand over fist, money still be made. Yeah, I get it.
That's facts.
And the reason why I'm saying that is because I don't think any of them live action Disney joints are making MCU money.
Nowhere close.
Not
at all.
I don't think they're doing that.
Just have that go to Disney Plus, and I will gladly sit and watch that. They got my money on that side already. I hadn't already paid them up for 3 years, but you know what? That's kind of a waste now because I get Disney Plus free because I have Verizon Wireless. So it's like, go figure.
You get it. Yeah, Free Guy movie made sure to include a little teaser that they made that it would not stream.
Oh, that was hilarious. That Free Guy jump with Deadpool and Cord.
I mean, it's smart though, right? But at some point, it'll come to a service. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like just her thighs come out of nowhere. Just jump.
I just want to make sure that we know that the Queen of Thigh Jail is in the building, y'all. Queen of Thigh Jail is in the building. Hey, look, this is where I'm at, Alfonso. I love watching movies at home. I get it. I've been like that for a very long time. Like
there's only certain movies I go to the theater to watch now, which is pretty much MCU, DC, pretty much Fast, and Star Wars. That's pretty much like it. Now I find myself sitting at home and I watch something. Let me throw this on, and at the end of it, I'm like, you know what? I would have enjoyed seeing that in the theater, but for the most part, I'm good. Explain the thigh warden.
Oh Lord.
I still want my thigh shirt, Flair.
So there really is no explaining the thigh warden. It just when thighs come up, Flareon shows up, put you in.
It's like Beetlejuice. You mess your thighs too much, she just shows up.
Just shows up out of nowhere.
I mean, you're right, KB. We pick and choose what's theater worthy, but we don't.
That's true.
Right? I mean, they pick what's theater worthy. They decide whether or not it's worth it for their money. You know what I mean? To put it in there. Hey, listen, I know them shirts better show up soon.
Facts.
I'll be honest with you. I don't necessarily need a shirt, but a thigh guard.
Hold up. Hold up.
Don't imagine. Stop. My man's trying to visualize over
there. Right there.
It's done. I want to say, why you want a thigh guard? But we go get up.
All right. Yes, thigh shirts. Listen.
Yes.
The rails have jumped. Yeah. I mean, realistically,
45 to life.
They decide whether or not something is theater worthy. They take that gamble on whether or not they think it's worth it to put it in the theater or not. The difference is that there didn't used to be a real gamble. It was like straight to VHS, straight to DVD, you know what I mean, or theater. And straight to DVD, straight to theater always meant corny, cheesy, right? It's the second movie that wouldn't get.
That shouldn't have been done
if it wasn't for the fact that they went straight to. Yes, to OnlyFans. That's right. Yep, that's exactly where it's going to. That's right, it's going to OnlyFans. Yeah, so now though, with the comeuppance of streaming services, with what Netflix has done, it's really Netflix that took making original content and making it worth. Yeah, that absolutely was a thing.
That was a thing.
That was definitely a thing. There was a loading snacks after dark, and we probably need it again. Probably need it, and we considered it going to Patreon. Trust me, like it's. Yeah, Netflix made that a thing where the content that they were creating was that good that it was worth people subscribing and continuing to do so. Marcus does have an OnlyFans. It's not that confusing. There are no members now. So
that's the worst $1.99 you'll pay.
On that note,
I'm gonna let you know.
Why do you know how much it costs, man?
Because he tried to give me to sign up, and I was like, nah, son, I'm good on that.
I didn't like that response. I believe it.
His promo code is Band Marcus.
You can find him under the name Band for Life.
That's his promo code.
Oh, man.
Band for Life.
KB says there's also a limitation of what streaming services you subscribe to or have access to, rather. Seeing it in the theater may be cheaper if I don't have Disney Plus. Sure. But the point is for them to make it enticing enough that you get the service. Right. That's the whole point. So now the theater becomes a commercial for the service, which is a thing that Netflix doesn't have of their own. Like Netflix, when they put their money and time into creating something that is officially, specifically for the streaming service, that's what it is, and that's where it is, and that's where you have to go to get it. And a lot of times it's not a movie, it's a show. They don't have that same ability. I mean, I guess they could, but they don't take the movies they make and put them in the theater and try to use that to get people to subscribe to something. Do I think we may actually start to see tie-ins that maybe go to a series or something like that come from other streaming services? Yes.
Definitely.
Because right now, nobody else has that.
Nope.
That is the one thing that Disney has over every other streaming service, is that they now have actual series that are tied into all of these movies. They do have the ability to put them in the theater and drop them in the service and have you tied into a series that you have to come back week after week for, because they also have made the decision as a streaming service. They could very easily just drop the entire series on a Friday night and let you binge it all. They don't. They make you wait 6 weeks. Here's a new movie. Here's another 6 weeks worth of content. So you don't give up that subscription because you want to see what's going to happen. So you tune in every week. They can literally count on their numbers spiking every Wednesday or every Friday as they release new content. And there's stuff that they do that with we don't talk about or care about, but believe you me, I have to hear High School Musical, the series, every week. Every week. There are things that don't appeal to us or aren't a thing for us, that they have this thing going, and everybody else is still, like we saw with like Invincible, right? Like they dropped like 2 episodes and then they just week over week, right? Because again, the idea is keep people in the subscription, keep people coming back, keep people talking about it for weeks on end, right? Where Netflix is still like, here you go, have it all. I seriously doubt they sustain that, right? I mean, we've seen them try kind of in and out with some other stuff, but I just don't think they'll continue to do that.
I actually like the idea and would like to see it go a little further with the whole, here's the movie, now we're going to link that into the next show coming or whatever. So you got that look forward to. I do like that idea. I thought about that. And I would like to see other platforms start, take that idea and start using that for maybe some bigger franchises and stuff like that.
Yeah. I saw Heather say that, Netflix does do some limited runs or whatever, so that for Oscars, but I don't even think that's going to matter anymore because they're looking at changing all of that.
Yep.
Like that, it doesn't have to release to a theater in order for it to be in the running anymore, or they'll just do a new category, right? It's all about what kind of category you're in. Which, speaking of which, we should probably talk a little bit about these Emmy nominations, to round the show out. Do I think Kang is in the Loki finale? I do not. I don't think we're going to see Kang for a long time. If you look at just to kind of give you, let's look at this one more time. So Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium doesn't come out until February 17, 2023. We know that Kang is the big bad in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium. Do I think he shows up somewhere else along the way? Quite possibly. Do I think they may mention him, or that in some manner he may be at them? I don't think he shows up in Loki. I don't think he shows up. Now, do they talk about him? Possibly.
Potentially.
Does his name come up? Possibly. Nah, I don't think that happens. Yeah, I think Loki is probably going to be the big bad in this joint. So the Emmy nominations were announced today, and there's some controversy, as there always is whenever there are major announcements for nominations and so forth. I will say this: it is good to not hear a lot of it be about lack of diversity or things like that. This time, it just seems that there are a lot. I mean, there are a lot of snubs.
Okay.
That's not what I want to get into. Here's what I want to get into. HBO/HBO Max garnered 130 nominations.
Jeez.
Netflix got 129.
Okay.
Disney Plus got 71. For a new service.
Okay.
HBO Max is a little tricky because it's HBO and HBO Max. 71 nominations. It's pretty solid. But here's the thing. The Crown, which is a Netflix show, Mandalorian, they tied for the most nominations at 24.
Oh, dope.
Solid.
WandaVision, right below them at 23. 23 nominations. Okay. There are a lot of dope folks. There's a lot of great content in these Emmys. Like, these are probably some of the first Emmys I will care about in a long time. The individual snubs, I'm not as like as a person, like the individual snubs weren't that big of a deal to me. It's probably certain shows that just seem like a lot of people were talking about that just didn't get like
mentioned or anything.
But again, like, to have actual shows. We've talked about this before when it comes to like Oscars and how the landscape it just has to change, right? How Scorsese's an idiot, and him talking about what he considers cinema to be, and these movies aren't cinema and whatever, right? And we've talked about how we feel about what kind of nominations those films get, and the kind of credit/credibility and so forth that those films get.
Right.
Now there are TV shows that encompass that same energy that you kind of can't ignore.
Now we have two of the biggest ones, you know what I'm saying, this past year to get that many nominations with The Mandalorian and, you know, WandaVision. Like, that's amazing.
You know, look, Mandalorian is probably like Star Trek's gotten Emmy nominations before. You know what I mean? Like, there have been sci-fi shows that have gotten nominations before. You know what I mean? Like, that have won before. Because sci-fi shows have been around for a long time. Mandalorian is a little less of a big deal to me than the more comic book-y counterparts in, say, a WandaVision, or, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier has some nominations too, right? Again, I do think, yes, Courtney Vance was in Lovecraft Country. And he was pretty phenomenal. That is one of the other things I wanted to talk about, though, is that Lovecraft Country did get nominations. It stands to it. Looking at the categories, it's hard to say whether or not I think they will actually win the categories they are in. But there is a lot of talk about the fact that they cut that short and decided not to give it a second season in order for it to qualify for certain categories in the Emmys.
Okay.
Because, and that's one of the issues that people are having with what's going on with the Emmys, is that the Emmys still exist in a very old manner,
right,
in terms of the way that they categorize movies and so forth. Like the stuff that falls in the comedy and the stuff that falls in the drama versus the stuff that falls in a limited series. Like
that's what I was gonna say. That like falls in that category now.
Like this, and this is a limited series. So like WandaVision is one of those things that's it's nominated in a category that includes limited series because it's like a one-off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As far as that show is concerned. So it puts it in a position where it can be nominated for things that otherwise it wouldn't get considered for. And these are the kinds of things that happen behind the scenes that we don't really talk about or think about.
Right.
But it there's a whole lot of trickery. And again, we've talked about whether or not we even bother to watch a lot of this stuff. There's a whole bunch of trickery and tomfoolery that happens behind the scenes in order to try to get certain shows, movies, films, things like that pushed into certain categories so that there's a possibility they can win an Emmy. Because once the category is announced and a winner is announced, not even really a winner is announced. Once you have a nomination, nobody goes through and like, you do get people who like will go through and take a movie and re-put it out on DVD or whatever and put stickers on it that says Best Actress.
And things,
You see that, right? But most people, it's just like Emmy nominated so-and-so. Not the category they were nominated for, not that, you know what I mean? It's just the prestige of being able to say you were nominated.
Right.
Academy Award winner so-and-so. It doesn't matter whether it was supporting actress or best actress or
best key grip
or whatever.
Right. Just that we were nominated 4 times. So
What does he do in the? What does Courtney Vance do in the show? He's one of them. He's one of the main characters in the show. Warren and Jared are obsessed with the Bo Burnham special. Listen, I've heard a lot of people talking about the Bo Burnham special. Yeah, Courtney B. Vance is. He is one of the most underrated. He gets a lot of work though. So yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting. I like that there's I think that stuff like this is the kind of thing that will force change. It will force the direction to change. It will force them to have to look at the categories, the way they categorize things, and reassess.
They got to take it back to the drawing board.
They do, because so much of TV isn't on regular TV anymore. It's not ABC, CBS, NBC. It's not that anymore, right? It's not cable channels anymore. It's the cable channel streaming service. It's HBO Max. It's
genres have evolved too.
It's just it's a lot like video games where like everything's an RPG now. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, it's this kind of game, but it has these mechanics in it. So technically, there's a lot of that. There's, you know, you have a lot of dramedies. You know what I mean? Something that's horror, but also has some comedy in it. Like, where do you categorize that? Where does it fit? How does it work? I think a lot of that just it has to be looked at. It's just it's super important now. Correct, Marcus. We're in a very new era. And so the way that we reward the shows that we watch, who wins what and gets what, and so forth, it has to change. It does. It has to change with those same things, because the problem is that for a long time, things like the Emmys or the Oscars were so important that people created their content around those awards, around trying to win those awards, get those awards, to see how many they have or whatever. HBO Max being able to say, we have 130 nominations. You need a subscription to HBO Max. That's important.
Yep.
Right? Disney Plus saying, we have 71 nominations.
You need a subscription.
We're in categories, this show and this show and this person and this person and this person. That's a big deal. It matters. It will get people to subscribe. Like, it is marketing as much as anything else is. It is marketing. And it is,
because I'm one of those ones when I see like what's supposedly the best show on TV this year or best movie, like it piques my interest and I go look to see, all right, where can I go see this at? Yeah. So it would definitely get people to sign up for these streaming services with that information.
Isn't absolutely that? I mean, again, it's the way they would sell you DVDs once a movie is out of the theater, right? It's a way that they would get you to come to Blockbuster to rent movies from them when they had those deals where you couldn't buy it before you could rent it, and it was a year or more before they were available for you at home, or HBO had the deal and it was going to be on HBO before you could buy it and have it at home. And so you need a subscription to cable and to HBO in order to be able to see this great Emmy nominated film everybody's talking about, right? I saw it in the theater. I saw it twice. Man, I'd love to see it again. You need HBO. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's streaming services are that's what it is now, right? Like, we have replaced the cable bill with the sheer number of streaming services.
Yes.
So that's what it's all about. Like, those awards are there as advertising to get more people in. Cuddy says they could easily make a new Emmys edition for the streaming, like there's always been daytime Emmys.
That's true too.
You're right, but here's the problem with that. See, the problem with that is that if you do a set of awards just for streaming, it makes it seem like the stuff that's on streaming isn't as good as the other stuff. Like, you have to separate it or something like that. So they don't want that. They don't want that. And if you do that, that's kind of like making like a Webbies. Like, there's Webbies awards for stuff that's like just on the internet. That's like locked to the internet. But like, you don't have to pay for that, right? So it's just trying to tell you that there's content that's out there for you to go consume. The only thing that you're going to spend for that is your time, which is still the most important commodity you have. It's the one thing you can spend you can't get back is your time. So
absolutely,
no matter what you spend it doing, whether you're streaming on Netflix or HBO or you're watching free content like Loading Snacks right now, you have chosen to spend your time in a specific place, and you want that you want it to be worth the time that you spend. So if you create a separate Emmys just for streaming services, well, that also will then impact the way that people create content. They will create content that is just for that, or they will say, if I do that, then I can't get this Emmy, or I can't be in this category. It doesn't go to this, you know what I mean? These kinds of people. And so it just creates another barrier. I don't think that would help. Frosty said it's annoying that you pay for HBO on your cable and then you can't get all the content. I mean, yeah, but to some extent, it's always been that way. And when I say that, I mean that HBO and Cinemax, same. There were always joints that went to Cinemax that didn't go to HBO. So if you wanted to be able to see everything that company had to offer, you had to have both. Like that's how they do it. You know what I mean? It's always been that way to some extent. J. Robert Dees.
Oh no! No!
Yeah, put that on the screen.
Dr. Who said we haven't had cable for almost 9 years. Yep. Listen, I get it.
That's how we are. That's how we're here.
You don't really have to have it.
I don't think I've had cable since 2004.
For a long time, I had it because it was part of the package.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It just
you have to have the package.
Like having a home phone. Most people only have a home phone because it's part of the package. It's actually cheaper. The package itself is cheaper if you do have a home phone than if you don't. Never get the number out. You know how many people I ask for their phone number, they don't know what it is?
Oh God, every day now. Especially all these people. All these people that help. Hey, let me get your phone number, put in the system right quick. Oh, hold on a minute. Let me.
All the time.
I've had the same number since 1997. Like, oh, okay, well, I'm glad you know it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just.
So people, what would you do in an emergency if you had to give your phone number out to somebody? Like, I'm like.
See, Freud said my dad still has cable because he's a channel surfer, so he doesn't want to pay for both. I mean, that's probably partially an ADHD thing. Like an ADHD.
I was gonna say, step back off the cable.
If I do sit down, I will channel surf. But the reason why we channel surf is because either there's too much to watch, or we're not that interested in anything that there is to watch. And so you go to the next thing, and you know you can go back to it, you flip it. They put the little handy last channel button on the joint. You know what I'm saying, or whatever. Like my joint now, when you hit the last channel button, it actually brings up a thing that has the last 4 channels you were on, and you can just select which one.
Like, dude, just which one? They're all right here. Which one you want? Quit surfing. Right.
It's that's a real thing though. Like people do channel surf, but again, you can do the same thing. Like I bounce between HBO Max. YouTube is a thing for me. I don't pay for YouTube. I know people do, right, Joel? Don't you pay for YouTube? Don't you have YouTube TV?
Oh, YouTube TV, yes, but not whatever that other thing, what YouTube Red or whatever that.
Right.
Yeah, but I got YouTube TV.
A paid service? Don't you pay for that?
That I pay for because I had PlayStation View, but then when Sony decided to go ahead and abandon ship on that, I made the switch to YouTube TV.
Yeah, I bounce. Like I don't really see anything on Prime that I want to watch right now, so I jump into HBO Max. I don't really feel like any of these right now, so let me look at Disney Plus. I don't really feel like any of this right now, so let me see what's on YouTube. You know what I mean? I'll just put that joint on and let it play in the background, and I'll look online, like what's good to watch right now. Like I'll look it up, like what's good to watch over it. Oh, I got Hulu. Let me jump in Hulu. Like I just started watching Lego Masters. Crack TV, y'all. Crack TV. Shouldn't be. It's on Hulu. You know what I hate about it? I got Hulu and it's part of my Disney package, and that joint got ads, and I want to kick them every time that joint comes on.
I hate that. I will pay the extra to have the non-ads package because
stream surfing is a new channel surfing. Like if you could get your dad to give up cable and get streaming services, he would do the same thing. Part of it is the same thing that we talk about kids right now. Like kids have access to so much, their attention spans are garbage. Their attention spans are crap because they don't have to sit and wait for something to be over before the next thing happens.
I straight flex surf.
Like, kids don't know what time it is. They don't know what time anything comes on. They don't know when nothing starts because they don't have to set their clock mentally like, oh, it's time such and such came on. That's why I can't watch regular TV anymore. I don't know what time
TV got back in the day. Nope, TV got back in the days. Look through there, find what you need, circle what's in there for it so you know when to go back for it.
Yeah. I mean, look, at this point, those changes are coming so fast. Like, I don't have Peacock. I'm not getting Peacock. Like, I'm just not doing it. I don't like. That's not happening. You know what I mean?
I have Peacock. The only reason I have Peacock is because of WWE now.
Because of WWE. But the thing about that is, you already had the WWE.
So it was just a switch.
They got rid of that and rolled it into Peacock. If it wasn't for that, you would be fine just having WWE. Hey, listen, the TV Guide channel was.
That was the jump.
Hey, listen. You ever remember watching the TV Guide channel, dog, and miss the joint you was waiting for?
Looking for it.
Mess around and sneeze real quick, and the joint go down. Now you got to watch the whole joint and see everything is coming on again, bruh. TV Guide channel was the joint, yeah. Kids don't have the time bathroom breaks. You can pause everything, including live TV. You can pause the jump. They don't run for nothing. It's not the same thing. That's part of why streaming service is going to overtake theaters anyway. Because I'm going to tell you something. If you got a little kid and you go to the movies and see something you really want to see, and one of them needs to pee,
start doing the pee dance,
you can't let them go by themselves. I'm going to tell you right now, they only have to pee at the most important part of the movie. Let me tell you.
You come back in, one of the main characters dead on the screen, like, what the hell happened?
Pee
you little
and
bastard.
The best part of the movie are synonymous, dog. They go together. They do. They do. You be looking at that joint like, I know.
See the memories he got sitting right here?
Really?
You be like, hey, listen. You know how, like, in the movie theater, you know how the cups, like, this a small cup. In the movie theater, this a small cup. In the movie theater. And they like, oh, you gonna pee. Yeah, okay, dear. What's up? Speaking of streaming services, can we maybe get Paramount Plus so I can watch Carly and the new Rugrats show? And the answer is no. Not at all.
She dropping a comment idea like she paying for some streaming services.
Listen, like she not the one the big cup and making me have to go to the bathroom and mix up in the movie. Holding a joint like this. I know somebody who's in the chat right now who holds their cup like this to drink. 2 hands.
That don't even seem right. I can't even do that. Hold on. That's just so weird.
Yeah, your cup. Listen. But you know what I'm saying? Like the small cup in the theater is like $7. And it's huge. So you go. I didn't say no name.
Well,
when you speak for yourself.
Wow. In the comments trying to get me to get Paramount.
Well. Thank you for that, Frosty.
So I gotta read that in Georgia. How wooed.
Oh man. Hey, listen, man, we overtime, though.
Oh my god.
Overtime.
It's time to shut it down. Hey, look, my mother said I won't let my granddaughter drink a drink until after the movie. Yes.
No, when I had to do that when Endgame came out, as much as we didn't sit through long, I was like, I refuse to have to go to the bathroom during the middle of this.
I don't think I started drinking my soda until like an hour into
I didn't start drinking mine until like one sip, and I ate some popcorn. I was like, oh,
hey,
let me tell you something. It's so interesting when a person tells on themselves.
Right, straight snitched on herself.
That's how it happens.
Somebody, like, you know what I mean? Hey, Cuddy said it's known I don't leave take the girls to the bathroom. That's what mom is for. Sorry, not. Hey, Slim, listen. So often it's just me and them. It's just me and them. And see what you did, Mario? You did this to yourself. And here's the thing. It'd be just me and them. And at one point, eventually, Zayna got old enough to be like, hey, man, take your sister to the bathroom. I ain't leaving there.
Like, why do I have to do it? Because I'm sitting here watching the movie right.
You have to do that going in, like on the way in. Hey, you got pee? Go. Listen. Now I had to pee. Go pee anyway. Go try. That's a real thing with kids. No matter what you say to them, like go try. I don't have to pee. Go try. Be in that joint tinkling for 2 minutes, like just straight streaming, dog. That's a streaming service. Straight streaming in the joint. Just for the. I thought you ain't had to pee.
Hitting the porcelain.
I thought you ain't had to go. I didn't. Why? Till you sat down? Man, you don't get. Hey, dog, listen. Hey, Joe, you got a job to do, man.
I got you.
Hey, do your job, dog. Oh, man, what a busy week we have. Y'all know the deal. Check out the link tree. In the link tree, you can find a way to follow us across all social media. If you're not following us in one place and you're following us in another, we'd appreciate it if you follow us across the board. That helps us out greatly. Make sure you check out our Patreon. There is content that's there that isn't anywhere else. There is more content coming to there that isn't anywhere else. You don't want to miss no more Spoiler Boys.
Spoiler Boys.
Let me tell you something. Spoiler Boys are going to become more frequent because they just keep announcing more shows and stuff. We don't have no choice.
Monthly. It's all never going to stop. That don't go good.
It has been a slightly weird show, but
that's what we do. That's what makes it king. Best.
Hey, look, content is king. It's having fun.
So also, if you're in that link tree, you can jump into MCU chat, which we post a small portion of Spoiler Boys to, but it also has some really great areas where if you want to talk about things that are spoilers that are specific to the MCU, you can do that when Jokes doesn't forget to do it right away. Thanks for y'all who are there for reminding us to make sure that Jokes. So also you can make sure you can follow Anime Chat there. That's important. Sin, talk about what's going on with Anime Chat this very weekend, please.
Yes. So this Saturday, the 17th at 8 o'clock. Yeah, just like this, everybody. You know how we're gonna do it. At 8 o'clock p.m. In celebration with the Tokyo Olympics 2021, we're gonna be talking about sports animes in general and just highlighting some of the more popular ones. Will be myself, Marcus will be joining us, the Thigh Warden herself, Flair, that was in there a while ago, she'll be joining us, and my cousin Noah, shout out to him, he'll be joining us as well, discussing Free for swimming, Haikyuu for volleyball, Hajime no Ippo for boxing, Kuroku's basketball for basketball, and Yomushi's pedal for cycling. So if you're into anime, join us Saturday, 8 p.m. It's going to be a great time.
Hey, listen, can we get a petition together to have Flareon the Fluff change her name to Thigh Warden? Like her actual screen name to Thigh Warden?
Yes.
I feel like that's
I'm on board with that. Yes.
I think we got to stop doing that together.
Is that it? Flareon the Thigh Warden?
I like that. And it sounds like a Pokemon, which
fits. It is.
Oh, well, hey, that's why.
No.
Yes.
There is no Flareon the Thigh Warden.
I mean Flareon the Thigh Warden.
Yeah. Not in the kids' version.
So listen. Also, there's a wrestling chat. I don't know what's happening in wrestling chat. I'm gonna let Jokes tell you what's going on in wrestling chat. Jokes, tell them what's happening in wrestling chat.
Oh, we just be in there talking about like Raw, SmackDown, AEW, whatever be coming on. We just be having the time in there. There's wrestling news like every day, so something gets shared in there. We're commenting on there. These two, there'll be nights where the chat is just endless and they just don't know what the hell is going on. Hearing pings all over the place for it. So definitely, I would say tune in because apparently within the next few weeks, AEW apparently has a major acquisition that's incoming, and they're not saying nothing just yet. But I have a suspicion of who it is, and if it is, it's bigger than anything they have acquired since they've started.
Okay. Sin, you got a job to do, if you would please.
Yes, so let's go ahead and shout out our top tier patrons, starting with Anthony Cunningham, Marcus Houston, Susan Dortch, and Tyrone Carson. Thank you very much. We truly, truly appreciate it.
Yeah, spam in the chat. We making it. That's how you know we making it.
You know you're serious. We got spam in the chat.
Yeah, but
Frosty is supposed to be in control of that. She's in there. She runs the Twitch chat. She just let that happen.
Yeah, but she trying to make sure Marcus is banned, so that may have slipped through the cracks.
Oh, Marcus, make sure you drop your OnlyFans link so people can go and support you.
Oh yeah, please, by all means, man. Listen, we all
we got a community. You know what I mean? Everybody, share.
Doctor Who wants to know when's the wrestling show? Her husband is a huge fan. When's the wrestling show?
Hey Marcus, we're gonna chat. I think we talk about Money in the Bank predictions. I think we may be doing that. Maybe. Oh yeah, I'm off this weekend. I keep forgetting. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. That may be a Sunday thing.
All right, that's a lie. So listen, that's a lie. Like my man, listen. Don't want none of y'all. I don't want
everybody on camera right now.
It's not happening. He made.
I didn't say it was a video or nothing. I said we may just get in there and talk about it.
So let's run it down. Here's what's going on. So we have our regular show for cutscenes on Thursday. So we'll be back to talk about video games there. We're gonna do a little Twitch something on Friday, but there's a possibility a slight modification may come to that. We'll talk about that and we'll let y'all know. We'll keep y'all posted. We'll put something in the Facebook and in the Patreon just in case that does change. Saturday, we are hosting. Jokes and I will be at StellarCon. We were doing some hosting all day on stage for StellarCon in Hartford County. It is a first year con. It's from 11 to 5, so we'll be there doing that. We have a panel. Jokes, what are we doing for the panel? Let's see if he knows.
It's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle. So we're gonna bring that rock paper scissors back. But we're pretty much gonna be throwing the Marvel. I think we agreed on it's gonna be Marvel. We're gonna have these characters. We're gonna throw the name in the hat. Everyone's gonna pick them out, and you're gonna rep the person that you pick. So sorry if you pick out someone that you don't like. You out of luck, but you're going to defend these people and you're going to play some rock, paper, scissors. And it's going to be, we're going to have a tournament style go through this. It's going to be fun.
It's a last person standing, straight up rock, paper, scissors battle we're doing for our panel. There'll be a cosplay panel. There's a video game panel. Again, it'll be a good time. Y'all check us out there. Again, Sin has the anime chat that evening. That's at 8:30, right, Sin?
It's at 8 o'clock.
It's 8 o'clock. Okay.
Yes.
So 8 o'clock for that. And then Sunday, we have our very first meetup for what happened? All right, stop it.
Marcus is getting Sunday, Marcus.
We have our very first meetup for Movie Club. So the other thing that you can do if you happen to jump in and follow us in that link tree, you can check out the Movie Club. The Low Size Movie Club is a place where we're gonna have a single movie every month. And we will discuss that movie in depth at the end of the month, so everybody has an opportunity to watch it. We try to keep it to streaming services or something that is currently popular in theaters. The first one for this month is Black Widow. We have already done a Spoiler Boys on Black Widow. I want you to understand that what we've done with Spoiler Boys and Black Widow is different from what you will see when we have our discussion at the end of the month. If you are already there, we did do some predictions for Black Widow, so feel free to go and check that out and see how wrong we were about those predictions.
That was a fun discussion.
I think we did get a couple. I think it was a few things.
We definitely got some stuff right.
Got a couple things right in there.
I mean, I got some stuff right. I don't know what you did.
I definitely got something right in there.
I got something a little right.
Did. So movie chat is designed to be just that. It's designed to be a more in-depth conversation that we'll have with everybody. There'll be a half an hour portion of our discussion for that that will only be on Patreon. It'll be a more general discussion. Then we will get into the broader strokes, and it will be kind of like having a book club where we'll talk about those things that are like, what are you doing, Dia, in the chat? What are you doing? It will be more like talking about the setting and the characters and their motivations and all that kind of stuff, and that will be followed up by things that make it different because it's a film, cinematography and the audio, the score, all that kind of stuff. So we'll have some great details. I'm really excited about having that conversation. But this Sunday we are having a gathering at an actual theater. If you're there and there are still tickets available, I'm pretty sure you can go there. The very first post is it's pinned to the top.
Pinned up there.
It is a private group, so if you're not already in and you want to get in, just send it in. We'll check you out. Make sure you're worthy to be in there. But we're really going to try to steer away from broader movie discussions and stuff like that. Movie chat is just for the movies that we are discussing. Look within the next week or so for us to do some polls, to do some voting. What's going to happen is we're going to be taking suggestions from people in the group, which has grown like a lot. Like I think we're at like 54 people now in that group, which I wasn't expecting, but we have that many people, so that's cool. We'll be taking suggestions for those months where we don't have a Marvel movie that's already coming out, for us to decide what movie will be that we'll watch. And based on those suggestions, what we're going to do is we're going to do a vote on genre first. So we'll do a vote on genre. And once we narrow down the genre to what genre we want to do, then we will do a vote based on the suggestions that we have that fall into the category of that genre to narrow it down. And that will be the movie for August. So that's what we will be looking forward to. My man said, do the Thin Man next. Just make this old doofus happy. Hey, listen, what you can start doing now is start getting your votes up. Hit the people up. You know what I mean? And tell them, this is the one. This is what you want to watch, and this is why. So yeah, so that's coming up. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody there. I hope you had a chance to grab your movie club shirt. I got mine. I'll be wearing it on Sunday.
Mine will be here at the end of the week.
I gotta pick mine up. Mine's been delivered.
Like we came together. You know what I mean? So after that, it kind of goes back to normal, but then we're still very, very busy. There's still a lot going on. Otacon's coming, Awesome Con's coming, New York Comic Con's coming, and that is on top of things like video game stuff like TGS is coming and all that. So there's a lot happening, a lot brewing. We're going to stay busy. We're going to continue to be busy. But most importantly, tomorrow we get the last episode of Loki. Tomorrow we get the last episode of Loki. So there will be a Spoiler Boys coming at you real soon. We haven't figured out when we're going to record it because we're very busy, but we're going to. Probably tomorrow. And then we'll get it to you as quickly as possible. With that, we're going to wrap this episode up. And thank you all for hanging out with us, for chilling in the chat. I see there's 13 people watching currently. That's my favorite number. I love that number. That makes me feel good going into the rest of the evening. And so, for myself, Gage, for Jokes, for Sin, and for everybody else who's hanging out in the chat, this is it. We are out. Toodles and lose.